Hi, today we will be learning about the do's and don'ts of mentoring.
Sometimes you don't know what to do, and you can't figure out if it's a do or a don't. Encourage your mentor in school and anywhere else you can, because you really don't know how much encouragement they get from their teachers, their peers. I always tell my peer that they're doing a great job, because sometimes kids just don't hear that at home. And me personally, I like to get told I'm doing a great job on my schoolwork or anything else like that.
Very clear do that you should have is respect for one another. You should definitely be able to tell that there's a boundary set between the mentee and the mentor, and the respect between the two people should be very clear. While you don't want to establish an authority between you guys, you do want to respect each other and just be peers. I think one big part of peer-to-peer that goes into all different aspects of the world is seeing each other as peers and equals, but also trying to establish respect and boundaries of your guys' differences. Another do is that you want to give all the support that you can. And not all the time will your mentee be able to correspond that support that you give them, mostly for the fact that they're going to be younger and they're not going to be able to have the same wisdom that you do. So you have to try to be able to give them all the support that you can in moments that they definitely need the most. When they're sad, when they lose someone, when they feel like they're losing themselves, and different situations where they don't feel equal to their classmates and they just need someone to listen. Another do is you need to be prepared. Not every student is the same at all. I mean, not every person is the same at all. You can't expect one kid to react the same as another. You can't expect all these kids to be the same at all. So you definitely just need to have that set in your mind and completely go into it not having any expectations within yourself, but be completely prepared for anything, with the fact that you're all going to school together and you're all peers.
Just generally don't be mean. Being unkind to a person can really affect somebody. So I just recommend not being mean, being kind. If you see your mentor or peer in the hallway, and they say hi to you, say hi back. And even if they don't say you and they don't say hi first, say hi to them, because they've probably seen you already. It's that easy. Just say hi, be kind. I'd recommend following the school's rules, because most peers know these rules and know that you should be following them. So I really do recommend that you do that.
Some major don'ts. Don't misbehave. You're older than everyone here, and it's not setting good guidelines on how they should act. If you're goofing off or making fun of someone or not giving everyone complete respect, then they're going to completely think that it's okay to act that way, especially in high school, which it isn't. Misbehaving isn't funny, and it's not cool. It's honestly cringe, and it's just weird. And I understand everyone makes mistakes. These kids and you are going to make mistakes in these situations, but misbehaving is completely it's gross at this age, and you need to take accountability for what you do and what you say. Another don't. They kind of go together. Don't assume and don't gossip. These kids are not people to gossip about. They're your peers, and they want help, and they're looking for this guidance in this relationship. And if you're assuming things about them or gossiping about them or other people, it's not going to be a safe place, and it's just not going to be a good environment to be around. Don't neglect the relationship. I think one thing that gets completely lost in Cavalier ambassadors in a lot of different groups is the fact that you have to set these relationships up to be a mentee and a mentor relationship. If you don't go into things expecting that, then you're not going to have any sort of relationship with them. You're not going to be able to know when they're having a bad day and want to help them with, which is completely what we're here for. We're here to guide them through the hallway in their class, but also help guide them in their first year in a high school building and the biggest change of their life educationally.
A lot of students, well, not a lot, but some students have like sensitivity to light, sensitivity to sound, get a lot of anxiety meeting new people, being in big crowds. There are a lot of things that can happen to make a new kid your mentor to this school or just a peer really nervous. Like, meeting you for the first time can be very nerve-wracking for them. Making new friends, maybe even. But like, those are the things you should be aware of personally, like, because so many things can be so stressful for them just because they're new to the school, or like you're new to them in general.
Now I want to go on how to engage students that aren't more willing to participate. They want to be more alone and they don't open up as easily. The first thing not to do is call them out. You never want to call them out. You never want to say, hey, for example name, hey, Jessica, you're not participating. No. Why don't you go around and say, hey, why doesn't everyone share? And you gauge on how they respond to that. Maybe they have an anxiety disorder and they don't like talking in front of people, and you have to slowly work with them to see like where they're at. Some people have disabilities of all various forms, and once I will always say, just because a disability isn't visible, it does not mean it's not there. And I think it's completely inappropriate to assume that someone isn't struggling with something mentally or physically just because you cannot see it. Once again, with assuming, we can't assume things about these kids because we don't know them yet and we haven't established that relationship with them yet. So you just need to be mindful, and you need to communicate, and you need to gauge where they're at as a person. Maybe try figuring out something that they like and try to have an open-ended conversation to gauge them more. Have more conversations with them, and maybe try to figure out a way to include a friend of theirs that is a safe person for them so they are able to open up more and communicate and participate more.
Now, me personally, I talk a lot. And a lot of people know that about me. So I usually just ask questions. I talk about stuff, like I'll talk about like lunch or something, because like a lot of kids like eat lunch from the school, or maybe they bring their own lunch, but like talk about like lunch, what's for lunch. That can be really helpful. Talk about like their classes with them, because like that could be really helpful as well. Just talking about different things.
What to do when you're with your group of friends that are now going to be juniors or seniors, a couple sophomores, and you realize you see your peer or one of your your cadets for ambassadors. I think the number one thing is not to act weird. Their peer, they go to school with you, and you awkwardly avoiding eye contact in any way possible is just rude. I mean, I'd rather you just not do that at all, just continue walking, than obviously just like turn your head or something. I think that's just rude, and that's not going to set the right vibe at all between you guys. I think if you guys have an established relationship, you should definitely try to ask a simple conversation starter. How's your day? How are you doing? I like your top. Like things like that aren't inappropriate, that aren't crossing boundaries, and are just simple things. Hey, I like your hair today, it's really pretty. Things like that. Your glasses, they're cool. I'm glad you got new ones. Little things like that, just to make them feel seen. And also, don't look at your friends and start whispering when they're going around, even if you guys were already establishing a conversation. them walking by, they may think you're talking about them even if you're not.
So what do you do when you see your mentor appear in the hallway and you're with your own personal friends? Say hi. If they ask you, like, if they're like brand new to the school, like these 8th graders that are coming in, and they like need help finding a class, like they're downstairs over on the other side of the library by Mrs. Lentz's room, and they need to get to Mr. Bedford's room all the way upstairs, and they don't know where Mr. Bedford is, help them, tell them where he is. And if they still don't like get it because they're so turned around in the school or something like that, because the high school is a lot bigger than the middle school, offer to like take them and show them where the classroom is, because that can be very helpful towards a younger peer. Always choose to be on the more helpful side of things. If they ask you for your help, give it. It's kind, like, just do it.
How to address bullying. Your number one thing that you are going to want to do is comfort the person that is being bullied, because it's hard to stand up against bullying. I don't think everyone understands the complexity of bullying, and we throw around the term a lot. Bullying is not just, oh, ew, that shirt's ugly. That's just being rude. Bullying is consistent, and it hurts, and it starts to form insecurities and make you think that the problem is you, when it is really the bully projecting, which then you want to realize the bully has clearly gone through something to feel the need to project. You need to be an upstander. You need to stick up for this person, because clearly they don't feel in the moment that they have the voice. You need to help them find their voice to speak up against the bullying. You need to tell an adult, like the principal, a counselor, or a trusted safety staff member. Being a bystander is not going to get you anywhere. As a peer or a mentor, it's not cool at this point. We're almost all adults, and just standing by watching someone get hurt over and over again, it's not cool, and it's not nice, and it's just a simple act to help them stand up for themselves and find their voice. Why wouldn't you?
Is addressing bullying and the difference between an upstander versus a bystander. Now, in a scenario where a kid is getting bullied and you're just standing there, not doing anything, just watching, that is a bystander. If you went up to them and were like, stop, it's unkind, you shouldn't be doing that, that is an upstander. And that younger peer or whatever, mentor, can be very thankful for that, because sometimes it's hard to deal with bullying by yourself, and going to the office or anything like that could just make it worse. So just be an upstander and not a bystander. Don't just stand there when something's happening and you see it happen. If somebody's talking behind somebody's back, just tell them to stop. You don't need to tell the other person who's talking about somebody that they're talking about them. Just tell them to stop. It's unkind, like. But thank you for watching this. Bye. Assuming the competence of your peer mentor, just don't. Just because they come out and tell you like they're dyslexic or have like another learning disability, don't assume that they are automatically not the same level as their peers, because just because like they're bad at one, like they're not as, I don't know how to word this, but they're not as like far along as their peers, does not mean they can't do the same stuff. Just sometimes it means they have to take longer. Like, just don't assume. Like, learn with them how they learn and how they deal with certain things. Like, like anything you can do to help them and they ask you for it, help them. Because coming into the high school with like a learning disability, anything like that, like any disability can be really hard, because like it just is.